your local boba tea mythology girl is back, and this time with I would say different boba tea, but it's not. I got the same mango milk tea with tapioca pearls and lychee jelly again, and it tastes amazing again. Honestly, by the end of the series, I think I need to get a brand deal for some boba tea company. Okay, getting back to the story. Honestly, some of these Greek myths that we're talking about are kind of concerning. It's a story of extreme crimes and the punishment that seems a bit too tame for the crime that was committed. So sit down, grab a snack, and let me tell you the story of the origin of werewolves. Werewolves. Lycanthropes? Angry, fluffy puppy humans? Their origin story in Greek mythology is pretty violent, but I guess for a relatively violent mythical creature, its origin is also going to be very, very violent. This is the most popular version of the Greek mythological story of Lycaon. Early on, when the Olympian gods had just gained their power, many demigods and remaining titans still challenged their power, and one of them was the king of Arcadia. He had many wives and 50 sons. 50 as in 50, not 15. Honestly, who needs that many sons? But most of all, he was known for his cruelty. Some versions of the story say that his cruelty was the most animalistic in nature. Lycaon sees the Greek gods gaining power, setting up their base in Mount Olympus, and slowly establishing themselves. Lycaon wanted to test if Zeus, the king of the gods, was just as omniscient as he claimed. So he comes up with a plan. Again, a terrible, horrible, not good, very bad plan. And if this plan sounds familiar to another story from Greek mythology that I told you, that's because it is. Lycaon's crime is the same as the one that was committed by Tantalus, although their punishments were a bit different. So getting back to the story. Lycaon comes up with a plan. He invites Zeus over for lunch one day, and Zeus, he agrees. Zeus comes over, they chit-chat or whatever it is that demigods and gods do when they meet up for lunch, and when it's finally time for the feast, the two of them go over. The food is laid out, served on a platter. Lycaon made sure that it looked like it came from a Michelin star chef, because presentation. And just as Zeus was about to eat it, he senses something off about the food, and he is furious because how dare Lycaon trick Zeus, the king of gods himself? Because before Zeus came over, in order to test if Zeus was actually omniscient, Lycaon brings over one of his sons, Nyctimus. Some sources say that he brings over a sacrificed hostage, but most versions say that it's either his son Nyctimus or one of Lycaon's grandsons. So going by the most popular version of the story, Lycaon brings over Nyctimus, his son. He kills his own son, chops him up, cooks him along with the food that is meant to be served for Zeus, and when Zeus comes over, he is served this food. He's the king of gods himself. Zeus realizes that the food being served was human, Lycaon's own son, Nyctimus, and Zeus is furious, and in his anger, he completely obliterates Lycaon's castle with his lightning bolt. Once that is destroyed, he turns to Lycaon and turns Lycaon into a wolf because of the animalistic nature of the crime. But Zeus wasn't exactly satisfied. He uses his lightning bolt, kills the rest of the 49 sons that Lycaon had. Other versions say that they were also transformed into wolves. Honestly, I don't know which punishment is worse. On one hand, you get smited. Smote? And on the other hand, you still have to live your life as a werewolf as a punishment for a crime that you did not commit. And Zeus takes pity on Nyctimus, the son that Lycaon kills and cooks, and Zeus revives Nyctimus back to life. After this specific event, it was said that Zeus was so fed up with humanity that he unleashed the great flood of Deucalion. So that's the story of Lycaon, which is very, very, very similar to Tantalus. See, Tantalus also wanted to test the omniscience of the Olympian gods, not just Zeus like Lycaon did. He also invites all the Olympian gods for lunch, and he also brings in one of his sons, kills them, cooks them, offers them to the Olympian gods. But the thing with Tantalus is all the Greek gods refused to eat the food because they realized what was in the food, or rather, they realized who was in the food, except for Demeter. You see, when Tantalus had this lunch, it was around the same time that Hades kidnaps Persephone, and Demeter was devastated. So she wasn't exactly paying attention. So when the food was served, she wasn't paying attention in grief and takes a bite of the food. But she is a goddess after all. So the moment the food touches her mouth, she realizes what she's eating, which happens to be a human. More specifically, it happens to be the shoulder part of Tantalus' son, Pelops. And just like the story of Lycaon, the Greek gods are disgusted and completely enraged. They resurrect Pelops, minus his shoulder because Demeter ate it. So, as an apology, she makes Pelops an ivory shoulder. But Tantalus was punished to be in Tartarus, where he would stand in a pool of water that is surrounded by lush trees filled with fruits. But every time he gets hungry and reaches up to the fruits, the trees would pull back their branches. And every time he gets thirsty and reaches down to get some water, the waters recede. Basically, they condemn him to an eternity of hunger and thirst. Basically, Tantalus's action is what drove the Olympian gods to give the house of Atreus, the house of Tantalus, a multi-generational curse which would all reach all the way down to Agamemnon. Both these stories are essentially about two mortals trying to defy the gods, questioning them and challenging their authority. And their punishments were basically about trying to restore the order. So the moral of the story is, don't let your extreme hubris be your downfall, or something like that. And don't challenge the gods. That's all for today. Until next time, stay safe, sweet dreams, and good night.